11 web design best practices to elevate user experience. This is actually an article by Sharma, and which can be found in this link here. So smartbrief.com. So let's now take a look at what are these 11 web design best practices. So introduction. Your website visitors take only 5 seconds to decide whether to stay or not. This clearly shows that website design has to be super engaging to get your visitors to stay and drive them down the sales funnel. That's why you need to follow these web design best practices to optimize your site. So number 1 is to optimize your page load speed. When we land on a web page, we expect it to load within 2 seconds. If it takes longer than that, we may get impatient, and there is data to back this argument as well. So according to the data from Google, the probability of users bouncing off from a site increases by 32% when the page load time goes from 1 to 3 seconds. Furthermore, if the page loading speed increases to 6 seconds, the probability of bounce increases to 106%. Because consumers are often rushing, the patience is reaching an all-time low. So the first thing designers need to do is optimize the page load speed. And here are some ways to do that. Number 1 is to compress anything that can be compressed, like images, for example. So optimize your code and take out any unnecessary characters. Remove render blocking scripts. And check your server response times and minimize image sizes. You can also use Google Page Speed Insights. So you can search this with Google to test your site and find other opportunities to speed up your page. So number 2, make it accessible for all. Anyone with access to a computer and an internet connection should be able to visit your website, regardless of their circumstances and abilities. However, many business websites aren't accessible to users with disabilities. According to the World Health Organization, roughly 15% of the population is dealing with some form of disability, which many times prevents them from utilizing the web. To cater to everyone, you should design a website that is compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act, so that people with a wide array of disabilities can browse. This will also help you avoid any lawsuit connected to a non-compliant web design. So I hope you remember the universal guidelines for universal design. So the Web Accessibility Initiative shared the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or the WCAG. So you can search this again with Google, that you need to follow to make your website ADA compliant. Complying with these guidelines will ensure that your site is accessible to all users. Many business owners find it difficult to meet all these guidelines. You can utilize the automatic web accessibility solution by Accessibility for help. It allows visitors with specific disabilities to adjust the user interface of your website to meet their personal needs. Additionally, their artificial intelligence powered engine remediates all HTML issues and orients the functionality and behavior of your site for screen readers and keyboard navigation. To ensure that new content uploads don't affect the accessibility level of your website, it is optimized every 24 hours. So you can search for this site. The number 3, add strong and clear CTAs. So CTA means call to action. So a call to action is how you get your clients through the sales funnel. Without clear CTAs, your visitor have no idea where they are supposed to click next. Ultimately, a well-designed website has clear CTAs that push conversion rates higher. It is a job of the user experience team to do a lot of A/B testing on various landing pages to see what works best. Great CTAs have certain common elements such as: number one, they are easily visible without disrupting the user's browsing experience. They follow the natural flow of your hand movement, so usually maybe from left to right. Certain and easy clear messages such as download for free or learn more. Or it contains maybe an easy clear message. So just like download for free or learn more. If there's lack of good CTA implementation, you're going to have high bounce rates. Visitors will quickly scan your content and then leave. When do you need to consider when designing your CTAs? Or what do you need to consider when designing your CTAs? Number one is size. Generally, make sure your CTA is very visible on all devices. Larger buttons tend to have higher chance of receiving clicks. At the same time, it should not be too large so as to distract visitors from the rest of the content. Color and shape. When you consider the color, it needs to be in contrast to the rest of the colors around it. The shape has to be compelling enough to make you want to click it. Placement. Place the CTAs where the visitor can easily see them. There is a lot of consumer psychology behind the placement of buttons. According to research by Nielsen Norman Group, there are two basic patterns in which people scan page, the F pattern and the Z pattern. These patterns help designers identify the best placement for the CTAs. F patterns are more common in websites with large amount of content, such as blogs and news portals. Z patterns are commonly for websites with less content, for example, landing pages. Copy. The microcopy of the button needs to be concise and transparent. If you want people to buy something now, then use buy now and not learn more. If you're giving away freebie, then use download for free and not get access. So number 4, ensure easy site navigation. Among your top priorities when you think website design is the ease of navigation. Your visitors will use the navigation to find any relevant information they are looking for. Without clear navigation, you end up with disappointed visitors that exit your website for better alternatives. What creates a great navigation experience? Number 1 is structure. The structure needs to be clear and predictable for faster result. Minimalism. The navigation has to be user-friendly and simple. Design. Your design has to reflect your branding guidelines, but you should also use harmonious colors and shapes for a pleasant visual experience. Survey Analytics has a great navigation system in place. So this is an example of a web page exhibiting all necessary design elements in structure, minimalism, and design. So here is the Survey Analytics website. So as you can see, it is a simple design. So minimalist. Number 5, make your website mobile responsive. The responsiveness of a well-designed website needs to be fluid and adjustable to all devices. This is critical to make it mobile responsive as the number of users on mobile continues to increase annually. Mobile screens are smaller, and this is why navigation and CTAs need to be optimized accordingly. For example, try to keep the main CTA on the main screen as well as at the bottom of the screen. Also, vertical scrolling is more effective than horizontal. It is important to optimize the e-commerce function on the mobile version of your design as well, giving your customers instant access. If the prospect has to abandon the mobile experience to turn on their computer and finalize a transaction, you risk losing that sale. Leverage technical SEO, search engine optimization. The importance of SEO is well established. Without it, search engines cannot find you. But what is technical SEO? Technical SEO involves optimizing your website and servers to search engine spiders crawl to index. So search engine spiders crawl to index your website better for improved organic results. While it mainly concerns on-page ranking factors, it also involves several off-page SEO ranking factors as well. So how can a designer ensure good technical SEO? So smaller images to make sure the speed is not compromised. That's one. Collaboration with reputable hosting services. So DNS lookup and SSL certification. This will help. Caching versions for better speed. So instead of, let's say for example, if you're using Bootstrap, maybe it would be better to use the one that is already on the web for better speed. Rich content. Then you also use keywords and of course your file names. Technical SEO can be tricky. However, the main rule is to remove all possible roadblocks between the website design and Google. You can use tools like SEO Optimizer to audit your site for any technical SEO issues that you need to address. This tool rates your site and gives you suggestions on improving several aspects such as SEO, usability, performance, and others. Number 7. Select a clean and minimal design. Clean and minimal design is part of a good navigation system as we discussed above or earlier. However, it is deserving for a second mention. In this section, we highlight all the reasons why a clean and minimal design is important. Number 1 is timeless. Of course, it will be faster. Number 2 is easier to scan and understand. Then it becomes more accessible, less pushy, and more confident. It loads faster, highlights fewer distractions, therefore increasing conversions, and it's easier to maintain. Number 8, keep branding consistent across your website. Consistency is professionalism and it helps your clients trust you. Let's use a silly example of a friend of yours who is constantly changing opinions, personality traits, and tones of voice. How much would you trust anything they say? So the same principles apply to brand consistency. Consistency in web design will, number 1, make your brand recognizable. Number 2, build brand equity and trust. Number 3, promote professionalism and a clear mission vision. Number 4, it establishes and reinforces your brand personality. As an example, PayPal has been a brand name for online transactions. No matter who else comes on board, PayPal is consistent and its easy-to-use platform has a friendly interface. Number 9, design effective forms. Great online forms will give you more leads, which then results in higher conversions. According to HubSpot, 74% of marketers say they use web forms in their lead generation efforts. Additionally, 49.7% of the marketers consider web forms to be their highest converting lead generation tool. So how can design help you take advantage of forms? So number 1 is simple forms work the best. Straightforward questions give better answers. No one likes to feel that they are being tricked. Number 3, start with the easy questions first. And then, if you have to ask the hard ones. Ask the hard ones at the end. So give a compelling title to your form. Utilize drop-down menus when the question allows for it. Number 10, conduct regular A/B test. Conducting regular A/B testing on the website enables you to skip unnecessary risks and maximize your resources. A/B testing is especially important right before the website launch or new product launch. It helps the team find out what performs better instead of just assuming. How do you perform A/B testing? Test one thing at a time. Determine your control and a challenger. Always have a particular goal. So the control is your basis, and the challenger is something that you think would challenge, would more or less beat the performance of the control. So always have a particular goal. For example, are you testing the placement of the button, the appeal of the certain color choice, etc.? Test for all design elements that are important, such as placement, color, and size. Allow your testing enough time to produce adequate data. Once you have enough data to make as a decision, go ahead and implement the most favorable results to your web design. What is A/B testing? Well, A/B testing, also known as split testing, refers to a randomized experimentation process wherein two or more versions of a variable, so it can be a web page, a page element, a button, etc., are shown to the different segments of website visitors at the same time to determine which version leaves the maximum impact and drive business metrics. Number 11, optimize your page layouts. Finally, we need to evaluate the page layout and make sure it works as it should. What is page layout optimization? Page layout optimization takes care of all the rest of the details that you might not have worried about until now, including these are the footers and navigation links, videos, images, and keywords. Final edits for all text-based titles to help Google find and index your hard work. Final edits on all CTAs and online forms. Payment funnel optimization, and any other element not optimized in previous steps. So as a conclusion, we have to make web design a top priority. Your website design has a primary function to be the initial hook for your visitors. When best practices are correctly implemented, the user experience is elevated to create an emotional connection between your brand and the visitor. Remember to start with compliance. Make sure you are not at risk for any lawsuits, and then move on to the fun parts. Thank you for viewing this video.